Welcome to our daily coffee chat. Thank you for joining me today. It is Wednesday. Great job. Last Wednesday, I went through our whole coffee chat and I kept talking about how it was Wednesday. And afterwards, somebody told me it was, I don't remember if it was only Tuesday or if it was Thursday, but I was a day off. But hey, I think it is Wednesday. Welcome to our daily coffee chat. Today, we're going to talk about how do you stay connected with your volunteers during this pandemic. And well, I'm sure we'll talk about how to stay connected with kids as well. But we've got a great lineup. I've got some guests that I've invited to join us in the coffee chat. You're going to hear from Jack Henry here in a few minutes. You're going to hear from some friends of mine, Mike and Amy Bates. We're going to have Josh Denhart jump on the coffee chat with us in a little bit. So thank you. Hope you're doing well. Andy, I feel like I always have to remind you about this. You'll probably remember, but send me a link so that I can check Facebook on my phone and keep up with everybody as they get logged in. Hey, I want to thank you for being here. You know, it's difficult to connect with volunteers during normal times. It's difficult to recruit volunteers during normal times. It's difficult to keep volunteers motivated during normal times. And then you add a pandemic to the mix, and it only gets a little more complicated. Do you feel like 80% of the people or 20% of the people aren't doing 80% of the work? It's like 10% of the people are doing 90% of the work these days. Some of you are feeling that, I know, because you email me every day and you send me Facebook messages about the challenge of working with volunteers during this time, and you feel like you're doing it all, and you feel like you're already carrying quite a load prior to this pandemic, and now you're even carrying more of a load during the pandemic. Well, these are real challenges. We're going to talk about them today. One thing hasn't changed, and that is you've got to make sure as a leader that you are always communicating the why behind the what. That people understand why you are needing them to do this, why they are volunteering. If 20% of the people are doing 80% of the work, then the other 80% of the people, they don't just need to understand what other jobs there are to be done. They need to understand why they need to be done, and they need to understand the blessing that comes from serving the Lord. See, here's the thing. It's so easy for us as leaders to get focused on the objectives. It's so easy for us to get focused on the tactics of what need to be done and the micro of here is exactly what needs to be done, and here are the calls that need to be made. Here are the letters that need to be sent, the postcards that need to go out, right? The people that need to be connected with. Here's what, and we get frustrated that we're the only ones doing it. But here's the thing, we've got to make sure that our leaders and our volunteers understand why we need them to do that, why they should be doing it, and the blessing that comes from serving the Lord. Have you discovered, I think some of you with gray hair have probably discovered the blessings that come with serving the Lord. It's a blessing. You grow closer to Christ when you serve the Lord. In fact, when you get serious about serving the Lord, your relationship with the Lord goes to a whole new level. You grow in your relationship with other believers when you serve the Lord. Some of my best friends are people that I've served the Lord with for years and years and years. And some of you can relate to that. You begin to really understand that, this is why God wired me this way. What does Colossians 3 say? That we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works. We aren't just created to make money. We aren't just created to acquire stuff. We aren't just created to have a good time. We're created and wired to serve the Lord. And Colossians 3 goes on to say that we have been bought with a price. We are priceless. It is a blessing to serve the Lord. And one of our great tasks as ministry leaders is to remind our volunteers and our teams and our people that it is a blessing to serve the Lord. So let me speak this over to you today, for you watching on Facebook right now. All right, Kathy's on here from Canada. Good to see you, Kathy. Nicole's here, Norma's here. Ryan Benson, thank you for, Ryan Benson sent me a nice card in the mail that I opened today. Thank you, Ryan. Amber Pike is here. Jennifer, Jasmine is here. Listen, for each one of you, it is, remember, the blessing that comes from serving the Lord. Don't forget the blessing. And then remember this, that one of our great tasks as leaders is to communicate to our people the blessings that come from serving the Lord, the why behind the what. If I only explain the what of needs, what needs to be done, where I need help, right? There's going to be a disconnect because people are busy. They've got enough going on. They're overcommitted and overstretched the way it is. But when they really understand the why and how God has wired them to serve and how they're going to grow in their relationship with the Lord and how they're going to really find significance and meaning and value as they serve the Lord, man, that will pull people together like nothing else. If there's anybody that understands this, that somebody that just has the joy of the Lord, it's my friend Jack Henry. Jack, jump on here with me. I love Jack Henry. Jack Henry is one of my favorite people ever. One of my favorites in the I Love Kidmin Facebook group, one of the coolest kids pastors that I know. The first time I met Jack Henry, what's going on, Jack? You doing all right?
Hey, yeah, man, I owe you some money, man. You're saying some nice stuff.
Man, well, here's the thing. The first time I got an email from Jack Henry, I got an email from somebody, and the email address is like oldkidsguy@gmail.com or something like that. And I thought, who is emailing me at old kids guy or old kids pastor? Wasn't it something like that? Old kids guy?
Old kids pastor. Yeah, we got a new music pastor, and he's 22. My son's 22. So
oh my word.
He said, how long have you been doing this? And I told him, I said, 38 years. And he's like, man, what makes you keep doing it? And you just said it, Ryan. We're created to do this.
We are, aren't we? We're created for it. Jack, here's the thing. Jack is such an encourager. Jack jumps in the I Love Kidmin Facebook group, and he'll do Facebook Lives. And sometimes they're just a shot in the arm and encouragement. And Jack, sometimes you're not afraid to be the old guy that says, hey, we need to do better in this area, to give some challenges. I love that about you. I love that about you. So never stop doing that. Now, what's that cool background behind you? Is that your ministry logo?
Yeah, this is our kids ministry logo, and our preschool is about the same, but it'll say junior at the bottom.
Now listen, you keep spinning like that, you're going to fall off that chair.
No, I'm a professional.
You drank too much last night. Huh?
I'm a professional. I'm good.
Okay. All right. So, Jack, tell us a little about your background. Take 2 minutes for people that have seen Jack Henry on I Love Kidmin, or for someone who's never met you. Give us a quick 2-minute testimony, your background, when you came to know Christ, your ministry, your family. Can you do that in 2 minutes?
I'll try. Right. I'm a kids pastor, so kids pastors are pretty quick. Well, it all started. Let me lay on this couch here. It all started years ago with a knock on our door. Church there was a church starting down the street in a little house. I think I was 5 or 6 years old, so I was born in '63. So you can do the math. Yep. Well, they came back twice. And my dad thought they would come back again, so he put us in the car with our pajamas and rushed us to the drive-in theater. Not many people know what those are, okay? Oh, yeah. But those guys came back, so we ended up going to that little church. And on that Sunday that we went, they came back and they came to the house, and I saw my dad accept Christ that day. My older sister accepted Christ that day. I remember running out the door screaming, "You're not going to get me." And
really?
Yeah. But when I was 8, God did get me in that little church, and that's where I met Christ, and I was baptized. I know that I'm saved, and But, I started studying or was interested in ministry when I was 14. We used to play church in the backyard. And there was a couple of times I had to fist fight a guy in the neighborhood to be the pastor. But, and one time I did lose, I'll tell you that. But, well, no, that was a girl that I lost to. But anyway, we won't go there.
I believe it. Yep.
Yeah. But, the Lord just kept dealing with my heart. And I just would talk to people. And my dad, my greatest spiritual advisor on the planet, he's 83 now and still is. But, just began to read and study and pray and got some opportunities to teach at my home church, and man, just fell in love with it. And through the years, God has moved me from place to place to place, pretty much just to help churches either start children's ministries or strengthen their children's ministries. And sometimes children and youth. It's been a very odd type of ministry, but I sort of feel like a children's missionary in a way.
Yeah.
I've been to a lot of different.
Have you been in children's ministry pretty much your entire adult life?
I did pastor for 8 years,
okay.
7 years up in North Georgia. But during that time, all we did was build youth and children's ministries.
Okay. Okay.
To bring people in. So I would say, yes, 38 years children's ministry.
That's pretty neat. What keeps you going? You've been doing this 38 years. We have a lot of people in this Facebook group that they're new. They're just getting started. None of us ever start thinking, man, I hope I get burnt out one day. I hope I end up quitting and get all discouraged. And I know you battle discouragement like we all do at times, but what do you feel like is one of the things that just keeps you going, Jack?
Well, the faces, Ryan, the faces of those kids, when they get it, when they're learning their love, just, man, I tell you, it wasn't that long ago where God gave me what's called the second wind. Yeah. I really thought I was finished with ministry. And you know that story very well, and how Kidman Academy helped get me back on my feet. Yeah. God gave me a second wind. And, I get in the funk just like everybody else does. In fact, last week I had sort of a funk week. We're just kind of, the sludge settled in. And man, I just, of course, just went to some friends that weren't in the funk, and they encouraged me. And watching you every day and watching these great folks on here and reading the comments on I Love Kidman, let me tell you, without these people out there, I don't know where I'd be. Because you say I'm an encourager. Well, if I'm an encourager, it's because they're encouraging me.
I love that. That's how it works. Boy, so much there. I'd love to unpack if we had more time. One thing is, don't forget, Jack talked about how Kidman Academy, God really used that in his life. Our next Kidman Academy class starts next week. And right now with this pandemic, we've never done this before. Jack, I think you're aware we're doing this, where people can name their own tuition price.
That's incredible.
Just to bless people. And Jack, as it looks at, we're going to have our largest class ever. A lot of people are responding and signing up. Kidman Academy, KIDMIN. Andy, drop a link in for me to that. Jack, what are you doing to stay connected with your volunteers during this pandemic?
Well, I came from a larger church to a smaller church, so it's not on a large scale, but we're still doing as much as anybody else is doing with what we have. We have amazing teachers here from nursery all the way up. We stay in contact with them every single week. They get a phone call, they get a FaceTime, they get mail. Let me tell you, grown-ups like postcards too.
Hey, they do, don't they? They really do.
I've received mail. I've received postcards. Hey, Pastor, praying for you during this time. Thank you for making the videos, and thank you for the drive-bys for our kids, and, throwing the stuff out in the yard. And one day we went just through toilet paper. It was incredible. Put some verses on toilet paper. And
Did you really?
Toilet paper. Oh, man, let me tell you, that was the funniest time. Just throwing toilet paper out the window.
It's a great idea. And, don't forget what Jack just said there. Two things. You can text people. Now, Jack sent me a really nice text yesterday. Just said, I just prayed for you. That made my day. Thank you. But also, don't forget, people do, isn't it nice, Jack, to go out to the mailbox and find something that's not a bill in the mail? I mentioned at the beginning, Ryan Benson sent a nice little thank you card to the office, and I got it today. And you just don't anymore. It seems like you don't get a lot of thank you cards or cards in the mail. And it is refreshing to actually get something that somebody hand wrote. So that'll go a long way.
It does.
Jack, in our last 2 or 3 minutes, what are you all thinking as far as, are they you're in Georgia, right?
Georgia,
So
yeah.
is comeback, I mean, is that anywhere on your radar, or you're probably another month away in Georgia, aren't you?
Yeah, we're trying to come back the first Sunday in June, and we'll probably have like 3 different services to spread the folks out. But we're not going to have children's ministries. We're not going to have nurseries until school starts back. If the kids go to school and congregate, then we're going to congregate as well. We're going to kind of follow that system, and our youth group, because I'm also involved with the youth right now. I'm pulling double duty until that gets solved out. But we'll probably meet in a bigger room, and we got that new worship guy. He's going to give us some worship now, so we're excited about that. But yeah, we have a plan, but it could change over time. Hey, I wanted to tell you too, our teachers, so they wouldn't feel left out of this time. We make 3 videos a week, and we let the teachers get in the videos. They'll make them at home, or I'll go film them. Yeah. Just so every week the kids can see their leaders, and those leaders can say some encouraging words to their kids. So
that's a great idea.
Yeah, get those leaders involved. I mean, hey, throw them on those videos and let them say something to their children.
That's true. It doesn't all have to be you, does it, as the kids pastor or leader? They could even just record a little video on their phone and text it to you, and then you figure out how to get it out to the kids or something.
Absolutely. And a lot of my volunteers are teenagers, Ryan. They're teenagers, and our teens are being a part of our videos. They're doing skits and singing songs, and they're doing all kind of stuff. So, and they're really involved now in our Vacation Bible School online that's coming up. I know Josh is in the lineup, and we cannot wait for at-home Vacation Bible School.
I love it. Jack, you're a good man. You're a good friend. You're a good leader to everybody, and I love Kidman. Keep up the great work. Thanks for jumping on with me for a few minutes today. Hey, real quick, you may not know this, but some of Jack's games are on the new kidsmatter.com download store. A lot of you are going over to Kids Matter, and you're getting games and stuff to do on Zoom with the kids. Jack, what's one of your favorite games of yours that you've got on the Kids Matter download store?
I would say probably my favorite one right now is called What's for Dinner.
What's for Dinner? Tell us how it works.
Well, there's odd pictures that are put up, and the kids have to look at the pictures and put a phrase together of what they would normally eat for dinner. It's a lot of fun.
Fun. All right, Andy, are you there? Unmute your mic real quick, Andy.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So will you jump over to Kids Matter, find Josh's game, or not Josh's game. What's your name? Jack. Okay.
I'm Brian Dollar.
Yeah. Find Jack's game, What's for Dinner, and drop the link in. I forgot. This is one of your newer ones too, isn't it, Jack?
It is. I'm making a preschool game right now called What's That Sound?
Oh, fun. Are you going to put that on Kids Matter?
I'll be sending it to you tomorrow.
Do. Okay. Jack, thanks so much. Love you.
Love you, brother. Thanks.
All right. Yep. Take care. All right. Wow, that was good. Love Jack Henry. Let's keep the conversation rolling. I'm going to introduce you in just a moment to Mike and Amy Bates. Mike and Amy, you can jump on anytime. Jasmine, thanks for the feedback. Nicole, yeah, I agree, Nicole Hensley. Jack just has so many great words and such passion. Tracy Hartledge is here. Lisa Wood is here. Thank you for taking a few minutes to jump on the coffee chat. I love it that y'all are trying to schedule time to at least catch a few minutes of this live and then watch the rest later. Hey, look here on the screen. It is the one and only Amy and Mike Bates. What's going on, guys?
Not much. How are you, Ryan?
Just
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How are the Bates?
Let's put it this way. She hasn't asked me where the shovel is lately.
Not yet.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. We've been sheltering in place since March 13th. So
you say this again?
We've been sheltering in place since March 13th.
Have you really?
We live in, the county we live in Pennsylvania was the first county to shelter in place.
So that's when I asked you if you guys could do this, unless you had a lot of other stuff going on. You said, no, we're free, right?
Yeah, we're free.
We're free. Now, Mike and Amy Bates were at Kids Matter HQ a month or two back for our Kidmin Veteran Advance. We had a good group of like 18 or 20 people that gathered for a couple of days, and we just encouraged each other and hung out and talked and went some cool places and did some fun stuff together. These are great members of the I Love Kidmin Facebook group. They're great kids pastors, and they're a great husband-wife team. I love how they serve the Lord together, and they're always sharing ideas of how they're connecting with kids and families. And I Love Kidmin. I love seeing all your posts. Amy, take a minute and talk to us about your family, your ministry, your church.
Well, my family consists of, we're empty nesters. So
Empty nesters.
Quarantining has been very different for us
Now you're
than the people
pretty
that we
young for
serve.
empty nesters.
You had the shelter in place upstairs, and she shelters in place
Downstairs.
Yeah.
That works.
So
Okay.
it's a different
Yep.
world, because the people that we're serving are home, having to work from home and having to be school teachers and disciplinarians and all that. And I'm not having to deal with that. So I'm having to kind of dig deep into what it was like when our kids were home.
Yeah.
And we are outside of Philadelphia. And so again, we mentioned it's a hot spot. We don't know when we're going to get back.
Yeah.
And when we do get back, our church is about 800. And so it's going to be a long time before it's feasible for us to actually be back in the building again. And we are, I liked what Jack said earlier about being in a funk, because that was me last week, and I'm still sort of in it this week, but you helped get me out of that funk this morning. So we are struggling with Vacation Bible School, with all of our summer plans, and we're even struggling with our fall plans and having to make adjustments. Pivot is the word right now. And so what is our fall going to even look like? Because we may not be back full steam ahead in the fall. So we're just having to it's put me in a funk a little bit.
So
right
have
now.
you all come to grips with the fact that VBS camp, that's got to look different this summer? Are you
way different. We have lots of options, and we have a survey going out to some of our parents this week to kind of get their feel for it before we decide to, put it out there what we're doing. So yeah, very, very difficult, but we'll make it work, because that's what we do, right? That's what we do.
You do. How are you finding that it's going connecting with parents? Are you finding it difficult because they are overwhelmed with everything else in life? Are you finding that it's going well? Does it depend on the week?
So I took a different approach when this all started and we were stuck at home, and we all of a sudden I got into the comparison game, and I saw, especially, I love the I Love Kidmin group. I love my Kidmin Academy graduates that were with me.
Mm-hmm.
I love everything, and I'm not a big idea person. I like to see what other people do first, and then I tweak it to fit our population. So I love, thank you, everybody who puts things in the files and takes pictures, because then I work better that way, looking at what other people are doing and then owning it myself. What I found was I fell into the comparison game. Everybody's going online and doing all these big, huge things. And that's not us. That's not how we do Kidmin at our church. And so once I realized, okay, what do our kids need the most? What they need is just to see Mike and myself and all of our leaders how we normally are on Sundays. And so rather than trying to hold church at first, our Kidmin at first, we just decided to have individual Zoom meetings with individual kids. So it might be one child, it might be all three of them. And that has worked really, really well for us. And so we have gotten.
It's actually more fun than the Sunday morning.
Well,
I bet it is.
We hope our pastors aren't on here.
Right.
We're we're doing like costume parties, sports theme parties, pizza party, like, but just with one or two of the kids, so they get undevoted attention. And
I
it's
love that.
amazing. The kids that are the quietest on Sunday that say nothing,
You can't
Yeah.
get them to
We-
be quiet
we
on the
can't-
Zoom call.
yeah, we can't get them off the
really.
call. Yeah, and then they're the first one to sign up for the next Zoom opportunity. I mean, it's amazing. These
We've
kids.
had a boy that I had no idea was playing piano, has been taking piano. So I quick pulled out my books, my old books, and I practiced for about a week. And we had a piano concert. And so the neat thing
Yeah.
about this is that we have gotten to know a lot of our kids in their uniqueness rather than in a large group. And so that has been really fun. We've been doing what lots of other people are doing with birthday drive-bys. Normally we just celebrate birthdays in mass at church, right?
Yep.
So we're doing individual birthday drive-bys. We are doing every other week or so, we do a drive-through KidMin in our church parking lot. That's been where we've been able to connect with parents better. And it is so fun because we had one a week ago or so ago where we did Chalk the Walk and handed out flat Jesus. And we had a parent drive through and got so excited to visit with her children's leaders and with us that she drove off. And then we got a text and she said, I didn't even pick up my chalk or my flat Jesus handout.
Yes,
So we have a new one coming up. In fact, it's an idea that we had seen on the I Love KidMin. Everybody is ding dong ditching. And
Yep.
so we have too many kids to do that. So I saw somebody that did a popcorn, like we popped by. And so we can't go popcorn everybody in our KidMin. We just don't have the bandwidth for that right now, but we tweaked it to they're going to pop in to see us and we'll give them popcorn. And so all of our leaders come out, all of our KidMin leaders, and they can stop at their KidMin leaders area in the parking lot. But then we find out it's just a huge parade because they just want to see everybody.
I bet
And
they
so
do.
It's been a great thing.
And on a one kind of little more touching point too, one of the moms from the drive-through, because she saw all the volunteers, the teachers, when she drove off, she texted Amy and said, I had to pull over. I was bawling because of the amount of love KidMin was pouring into the family. So it was just something as simple as a drive-through like that. And she was really
That is neat. And one thing I've noticed just from a distance of watching your posts and I Love KidMin and stuff is that y'all are really making an effort to connect with the kids. I love that your drive-by birthday parties, all your drive-by stuff. And I really, really love this, that you're taking time to schedule individual Zooms with the kids. And I know that takes time. And now, so on a practical level, and you're getting a lot of love in the comments here as well. It's a great idea, these individual Zooms. Practically, what does that look like? How are you scheduling these?
Well, so about 2 years ago, our church switched our database over to Planning Center.
Okay.
And I love Planning Center for everything but individual scheduling. So I just use trusty old Sign Up Genius, and between Mike's work schedule, because the kids love Mike, I think, more than me. And so we like to have, we like both of us to be on the calls. And so we just use trusty old Sign Up Genius. And so the schedule changes every week based on my schedule with work and staff meetings and Mike's schedule with his work. And we just sign up. So this week we've done every day, but we only have about 3 time slots every day. And the link goes out in our MailChimp through Planning Center. And then if parents can't make it, they text us and we work something out. And it's just been a great way. Besides what Jack said, we are doing, all of our leaders every other week are sending, we have great little, missing you postcards that they're staying in touch. We also did send us, at Easter, we did send us a quick video from your phone, and then we just flooded our KidMin group with all the teachers wishing. sharing a joke or singing a silly song or meeting pets. We've met everybody's pets. And so our leaders have been doing that. And I think for our parents who are so overtasked right now, knowing that 30 minutes that we'll be on a call with their child and they can go do something else because we entertain each other, the kids and us. And so they are able to sit down and relax or go, do something else has really been a bonus. There's lots more we can do. We do a KidMin live with a lesson on Sundays with our kids. We have all kinds of contests, and we have just noticed that for us, not having a huge Zoom call has worked. Individual calls have worked for us, and we make it fit our schedule. And just getting to know the kids in their uniqueness and do fun things with them has just been a blessing to us.
Well, Mike and Amy Bates are pretty awesome people. If God ever calls me, I don't know if he'll ever do this. If God ever says, Ryan, I want you to go start a church somewhere or take over somebody's church, I'm going to call Mike and Amy Bates and see if you'll come and be my kids pastors, because you guys are awesome, awesome kids pastors.
Well, okay, thank you.
In our last minute, Mike and Amy, would you both share one word of encouragement to someone who's on Facebook right now, who's maybe discouraged or feels overwhelmed? Just share something just both of you take 30 seconds and share a word of encouragement.
So my encouragement is that you are going to get in a funk, and don't play the comparison game. I have lots of friends who are in really big churches or churches that are technologically way more advanced than we are. And just look at that and be thankful that they're blessing people. But you do you, and you know your kids, and you know what they need, and you know what they miss. And for us, it was us being goofy and silly, and that has just been what's worked best for us. It's nice to see what other people are doing to maybe keep your game up, but you know your families, and you know what they need.
And I would add that don't do this alone. If you really are getting in that funk where you're getting overwhelmed, that's where leaning on your volunteer staff really becomes even more important, because we can't do these drive-throughs and drive-bys if it weren't for our volunteer staff. And so I just say, move forward. If it's one step, it's one step. If it's two steps, it's two steps. Just keep moving forward, but don't keep moving forward alone. Bring those volunteers with you, because it's amazing during this period of time. They've come beside and along and behind Amy and I, and we can't do what we're doing, and that's what's been helping us.
And just one last thing, Ryan, you will find out that there are some leaders that you had no idea the talents they have, or the amount of energy, or the time that they want to give, because now they're being stretched too. And I have found several volunteers that if it hadn't been for the stay-at-home order and doing things completely differently, I would have never known what great treasures they are.
That's a great point. It's Mike and Amy Bates. Mike and Amy, sometime today, read through the comments, because there's a couple questions for you.
Okay.
And if you have any more questions for Mike and Amy about what they're doing, just tag them on Facebook.
I'm in that I Love KidMin. Just send me a message.
Yeah, send her a message. Drop your question in the comments. Mike and Amy, thanks so much. You guys are awesome.
Thank
I love
you.
you both. Yeah, love you, love you, love you. Now, this has been a great coffee chat. Andy, you there? I feel like this has been one of our best coffee chats.
This one's been a good one. Very good.
Are you feeling it too?
I'm feeling it.
I am, and we're getting some great questions and comments in the Facebook and comments. Thank you so much, everybody. Andy's been dropping some links in. Good, Andy. I see you dropped the link in for Jack's game. Drop the link in for KidMin Academy. Josh Denhart's coming back. Josh was with me at the these days, man, they run together. I feel like it was last week, but it could have been this week. On the coffee chat, and Josh and I talked quite a bit, and Josh just got wrapped up from a coaching call, and I said, Josh, can you jump back on the coffee chat? So Josh, jump back on here with me when you get a second.
Yeah,
and there you are. What's going on, sir?
Not much. Just got done with the great coaching call. We had a fantastic time. It was good. It was good. So
Have you been feeling, I had been talking to so many people offline about your VBS at home. And I want to talk about that right now. Maybe we'll talk about it at the end, but have you been feeling love coming your way? Because I swear I've talked to 20 people in the last.
I've had, my inbox is being flooded with, we're excited. We're going to do this. Here's what it's going to, can you, a small question. So I've just been getting flooded with interest for sure.
Okay. Well, I know you got a lot of people sending love your way, but I've been sending a lot of love your way and telling, because I'm so pumped about what you're doing. And we'll talk about that for a few minutes at the end. Josh, you just got off a coaching call. One thing you do is you coach kids pastors and children's ministry leaders on a wide variety of topics. But one thing is this whole idea of leading volunteers.
Yes.
That dynamic sure has changed, hasn't it, during this
Big
pandemic?
time. It absolutely has. What
are some tension points that you're hearing with the kids pastors that you coach as it relates to volunteers?
Yeah, I think that they're like, they feel a sense of paralysis. What am I supposed to do? I feel like I'm in this kind of middle weird state. And so my encouragement, which is what I heard from some other people on the call today, is be a pastor. Be a pastor, be a shepherd. And so one thing, I'm going to quick share my screen. Am I able to do that, Ryan?
You should be able to.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen real quick. I'm going to try my best here. And let me, okay, hang on. This is the one I want you to see. So this right here is a piece from the Lead Volunteers material. It's called The Calling Script with No Asker Agenda. And so this is a packet that's within the Lead Volunteers material. And you know what? The funny thing is I've had so many leaders, Ryan, say, this has helped me because even though I could just call somebody on the phone, this gives me a starting point. And so there's a whole packet of kind of prompts.
I love this. So Josh, let me make sure I understand this right. So you're not calling to recruit here. This is just calling to check in on your leaders.
That's exactly right. And
with
to
no
pray
ask,
for them.
no agenda.
No ask, no agenda. And now watch this, Ryan. You've brought up an interesting thing. Now, do you know about Pavlov's dogs? Of course you do.
Yeah.
Remember when he rings the bell, he gives them food. He rings the bell, he gives them food. He rings the bell, they salivate, even if there's no food. Well, we sadly have conditioned people that when they see our caller ID coming up, they think they're asking for something. We have to break that pattern. Therefore, we need to throw in some data points where we're calling for nothing but blessing.
Yeah.
And so a lot of leaders have told me, Ryan, they're like, that's such a great idea. But this gives them a starting point. I've had many leaders say, I read it word for word. I've had other leaders say, this just gave me the impetus or the passion to know what I could say. It just gave me a starting point. So there's page after page.
And I love the accountability with that for yourself, because we all need to hold ourselves accountable. Here's a list of who I called and when. Now, Josh, save me the 22 emails I'm going to get this afternoon from people that are going to say, how do I get that PDF?
Yes.
Simple.
Get
the PDF?
The easy way, to be honest with you, is you can get it along with 156 other downloadable, executable resources through leadvolunteers.com.
Okay. How did you find time to put all this together?
Oh, my word. It was a labor of love, but it was labor, no question. Well, I want to say, you said the accountability thing, Ryan, and I just want to speak to that briefly, because I have two main reasons why I have the person called and the date. Number one, I don't want to call that person a second time and say the same thing. That would be somewhat embarrassing. Number two, I do want to have a sense of personal accountability, but here's the deal, Ryan. You and I know we've been at this long enough. There is a Thursday afternoon at 3:30 p.m. when you and I and anybody else is going to feel discouraged, disheveled, and they're not going to feel like they're doing enough. And they can take this sheet out and they can hold it up to the Lord and say, I'm doing my part. I am trying to care for your sheep. Please, you do your part. So it's evidence that I've been loving people, if that makes any sense.
Calling with no ask and no agenda. And you're right. We've got to, as leaders, break the the mindset that I'm going, when somebody sees my name on the caller ID, that they need something.
That's right. And that's our fault, right? That is our fault. And it comes, listen, you know it, I know it, you and I've said this 1,000 times. Ministry comes down to relationship. Ministry equals relationship.
Yep, it does. Man,
and
good.
So during this time, that's a great thing to do.
And you know, you're not there as a kids pastor or kidmin leader. You do, for the most of you're responsible for recruiting more volunteers than anybody else in the
guaranteed.
You run the largest ministry, requires the most number of volunteers. So by default, you are going to be calling people and asking them for things. But I think if you could get, Josh, if we could get into the routine where for every one time I call somebody, there's like 3 times that I'm doing what you're saying right there. That is calling or reaching out with no ask or no agenda.
And by the way, it can happen many ways, Ryan. It can happen through a text that is personalized. It can happen through an email, but email is not as good. It can happen through, by the way, I do this all the time. I can take a quick video and I can fire that off in a personal way. I'm a big fan of Marco Polo. I can send a quick polo. So it's thinking in our minds of the maybe 14 different communication methods. And being creative with popping some of those different ones out. Maybe a good starting point would be to write out all of those particular communication methods and then be varied in your method of reaching out.
So you can see why, Kidman, why when we decided to take today's coffee chat and talk about volunteers, why I text Josh this morning and said, Josh, can you jump on the coffee chat? Because Josh gets this. That alone right there, Josh, was worth the coffee chat. Making 3 points of contact without an ask or an agenda for every one that you do have an ask or an agenda.
And Ryan, I tell you the truth, it will add up. It will add up.
It will add up, won't it? Yeah, it'll add up. Now, Josh, I can't let you go without, I kind of teased up at the beginning all the love I'm sending your way about your VBS.
Yeah.
Josh has one of the greatest VBSs in the country, his sciencevbs.com. And Josh has taken that and he has made it something that you can do at home. Josh, take our last 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, unpack it. If you want to share your screen again or whatever you want to do, Andy has the link. He's going to start dropping in for someone that wants to learn more about this.
Yes. So, you know, Ryan, we all at first, we were like, what in the world are we going to do? And a lot of people started to think in their minds, is summer a lost cause? And I'm telling you, it is not.
I agree.
We just have to be innovative and pivot perfectly. Well, I created, and by the way, just as we said last time, here I was, Ryan, I was in the throes of developing this thing. And you sent me a text and you said, Josh, you have to be the first one to get this to happen. And I was literally in the middle of making it. I came up for air, went to my wife and I said, Ryan Frank just said I need to be the first one. That's what I'm doing. I didn't even have time to reply back to you. Remember you said you were like, you didn't even reply. Okay. So we created Faith Lab at Home. It is church supported, which is what we should do, family led. There are 5 amazing sessions. Now, by the way, somebody could do this, Ryan, in a Monday through Friday, succinct, 5 days in a row, or they could do it 5 Wednesday nights. It's really up to them. At the end of the day, when I say church supported, a church leader is going to do several very small things. I'm going to go rapid fire through this. If a person jumps in, they're going to have a number of licenses. They are going to send out an invite to all of their families, Facebook, their app, email. They're going to let families know. Second, they're going to have a number of licenses right here. Let's envision 50. When that leader puts in first name, last name, email, clicks enroll, that family gets access. This number reduces by 1. At that point, Ryan, that's all you would really have to do. However, there's more. If you wanted to be an engaged leader that builds a Faith Lab at Home kit, This is household stuff. And people are like, can you show me the whole list? This is the whole list for the entire week.
Yep.
Simple stuff. You do a drive-through pickup or a delivery system. And you can make it easier for families by developing this. The final thing is we have a daily Facebook contests. I don't want to go into that. I think we all know how to do that, but we have a lot of fun supports with that. Finally, you do have an opportunity to go the next mile with some bonuses. T-shirt designs. Ryan, I give people the T-shirt designs in an EPS format, meaning you could send that native file to your very own printer and they can make those shirts for $3 1/4. You don't have to buy from me because I don't sell shirts. All right.
Yep.
Next, what does a family see? They see this right here, session 1 through 5. I'm going to jump into session 3 just for fun. Now, by the way, Ryan, the full first day is visible on the Kidmin Science website, the full first day. So you've got music, scripture music, science devotions, and questions for mom and dad. You have sink or float videos. Stand if you think it's going to float, sit if you think it's going to sink. A lot of fun.
Yep.
In addition, science projects that are nationally recognized. Now, I got to tell you, one of my key things, Ryan, I think you're going to get a kick out of this. When I created Science VBS years ago, and I've ended up creating 3 of them, one of my values was the no lame craft commitment. I'm going to say it again, the no lame craft commitment. I don't want lame crafts. I want killer science projects. So families are doing that in their very own home. Families also get some games, and they have a wonderful bonus section with a snack. Now, here's the crazy thing. This is about $10 per family. If they click right here, they can download every single song for their very own. They can keep it forever. So, Ryan, at the end of the day, I think it's a fantastic opportunity to, number 1, be innovative. Number 2, not break the bank. And number 3, do what your pastor wants. Your pastor he didn't want to solve this problem. Your pastor, what does he want? He wants the gospel to go out. He wants the bank not to be broken. And he wants to make sure that ministry momentum is maintained.
Yeah, I agree. And this is a great way to do it. Are you getting a good response from churches so far that are like, hey, we're in?
Absolutely. And people are beginning to share it out on their own and say, this is what we're doing. So it definitely is working. It was, as you kind of inspired me and said, Josh, have to be the first one. And I did it.
And you did it.
I'm grateful for your support, for you telling me I should, for you thinking of me and how this could be a support to the community, right?
And it's ready. This isn't like sign up and it's going to be ready in 3 or 4 weeks.
It is ready.
It's done.
It's ready right now. I'm going to share my screen one more time for about 20 seconds, okay? I think it's important for people to see that this is not only gospel-centered, Ryan, right here. It's gospel-centered. It's educationally rich. But I'm even going to zoom in just for a second. I think this is an important piece.
Yep.
Can you see that on the screen?
I can.
This is very doable. I did a lot of research with top children's ministry leaders, you know, and everybody in the children's world knows. And I said, I'm thinking, what do you think? I had in my mind $10 a family, and that's where they arrived to. And I thought anything more than that would be prohibitive. If, of course, you buy more, you get a little bit less. But the interesting thing is that I've had groups who have now come back and are purchasing more units because families are showing such an excitement. So somebody bought a 25 and now they're buying a 50 to go with that, and their number just increases. So at the end of the day, it's effective ministry, but it's not breaking the bank, right?
Exactly. Go check it out. We're working on dropping a link in. We're having a hard time. I don't know, Josh, if you can in a minute drop a link in. And it's not letting Andy drop a link in.
Okay, I will.
It's in that text with you and Andy.
Okay.
If you find that link in a minute and drop it in for us.
You bet. I'll sure do that for you.
Josh, thank you. Thanks for what you're doing to help kids pastors. Thanks for what you're doing to help us get ready to have a successful summer of VBS. I'm super, super excited about it. You're a great gift to this community.
Thank you, Ryan, very much.
Send your love to Sarah from Beth and I, please.
I sure will.
All right. Thanks a lot.
And God bless.
All right, friends, it's been a great coffee chat today. Wow. If you have a question for me or you want to join me on Zoom to talk about what's going on in your ministry, please send me a text, 833-792-6372. It's right there behind me in the background, 833-792-6372. We've got a great lineup for tomorrow. Jordan Davis is on the lineup. He's a member of the I Love Kidmin Facebook group. Great kids pastor in the Indianapolis area. Martijn Van Tilborg is going to jump in the coffee chat tomorrow, and I'd love to have a few others jump on. I've got some folks in mind. If you got something that you want to talk about, or you just got a question for me, please text it to 833-792-6372. I Love Kidmin. Thanks for joining me for today's coffee chat. Can't wait to see you tomorrow at the same time. God bless. See you then.